My name is Emily Apodaca, and I am currently on patrol as a deputy.
And as a patrol deputy, you worked with Deputy Cunningham?
Yes, I did.
What was your all's relationship like as co-workers, and kind of explain and paint me a picture of kind of who he was as a person?
So he always helped us out. We weren't on the same shift, but whenever we needed assistance or they needed assistance, we would work back and forth, so working over on each other's shifts. And at one point we did work a shift together, and we went to some calls together, and he was always, he was pretty much always there. No matter what we did, he always made sure he was just there and was present, no matter what he did.
So when you first started working here at the sheriff's office and those days that you all worked together, did it ever occur to you that somebody that you work with would get killed doing this job?
No, never. I remember the days working in the jail. Whenever I was on day shift, he was on night shift, he would come relieve my day shift. So he always walked in so happy to relieve our day shift. And so I always saw him at the end of shift, and I would have never thought that. Never.
So when you were in the training and the academy and all those things, out of all the training that you did, you obviously knew when you signed up for this job that was a part of it. That's a risk. It's always in the back of your mind that it's there no matter what. So just never really know when it's gonna come, I guess, type deal. Kind of walk me through the day, or paint me a picture of what that day was like when Brandon was killed.
So I was off, and I was just not really paying attention to my phone. I had several missed calls. And I finally looked at my phone, and I realized I had so many missed calls, and I was like, what's happening right now? I was actually in Kennesaw when I saw a whole bunch of blue lights just everywhere driving. And I was like, well, something can't be good, because I see Kennesaw, I see Cobb County, I just see blue lights. As I'm going further into Paulding County, I still see blue lights going into Paulding County. I'm just like, well, this is not okay. At that point, I hadn't looked at my phone yet. I didn't know I had any missed calls yet. I was just kind of wondering what's going on. Because at this point, there's different agencies just headed in the same direction that I'm going. Like, why are so many different agencies coming to Paulding County? When I finally looked at my phone, I had so many missed calls, and I just felt almost in shock, like I knew something bad had happened. So when I finally answered the phone and spoke to one of my supervisors, the first thing he said was, Cunningham's been shot. I need you to come in, buddy. So that's what I did. I rushed home with the rest of the blue lights to get ready and get ready to work.
When you got that call, walk me through that.
I don't know how to really explain it. It's just like fear kind of like fills everything in. But part of me knew that everyone else needed to get it together, and we needed to be there at that point. So it's like fear, excitement, don't know what you're walking into, just to make sure we can get there and get to our own person. It was a lot of emotions. Almost felt like I was in shock almost, because those are words that I would have never thought I heard before. With it being one of our own, it hits different, because it's not something you think about regularly. So when I heard those words, everything kind of just froze for a second, and then it's just like, okay, it's time to go to work.
You just knew that you had to get there.
I had to get there.
How did Brandon's passing change you as a person and like your view on this profession?
I don't think it's something that should be taken lightly. We're surrounded by dangers all the time, and we don't even know it. You're already always on high alert. After this, it kind of just puts it into perspective, seeing it all happen kind of right in front of you. that you kind of just, I guess you're more on alert on things now.
So I want to go back to when you got the call and you were driving home to get ready. At that moment, did you think or did you know, hey, I'm also going to play the biggest role that I can ever possibly play?
I had no idea. I had no idea what would be coming.
Did you know that you would be the person that would be the voice between his job and his family?
Never saw it coming. Never did.
Tell me about that role.
It's very emotional. I feel honored to have been able to be that person to step up and be there for the family between the sheriff's office and them. It's just very emotional. I kind of just knew when I was asked, I didn't know who else would be able to do it. Obviously, I speak Spanish, and they needed someone to be able to translate between both of them, between the family and the sheriff's office. So I felt like that's what I needed to help with at that time. So that's what I did.
And you, as a new person here, myself, anytime you hear Brandon's name or that family's name, your name is brought up.
Every time the name is brought up, it just hits extra hard, I guess, because you're in the middle of it between the sheriff's office and the family. Just trying to make sure you're there for the family, make sure all the needs are met. And it's...
You do know, I think you know, as somebody who has done a little bit of what you've done, how important that role is.
I do.
They'll obviously never forget Brandon's legacy, but they'll never forget what you were able to do.
And the bond that I've kind of created with the family and especially the kids is something that it's just never going to go away. Like, I feel like in a way we're kind of attached because I was helping them through some grief and they were helping me through some grief as well. And it's never going to change.
Talk to me about your experience in DC.
DC was a roller coaster of emotions every single day. There were happy days, there were sad days. Every event that took place that week was very impactful and very emotional. It just hits your chest like something you've never felt before. Being there for the family, having to see them emotional as well, but also keeping control of my own emotions so that I can be there for them when they needed me to be.
You got a job to do.
Yeah, I do. I did.
You did it well.
Thank you.
I think anybody sitting in this room would tell you that you did it well.
Thank you.
So after all of this happens, life gets back to the new normal, basically. What do you think about every day when you put your uniform on and come to work?
All I think about is just it's time to go to work and make sure that I'm safe and those around me are safe as well, my partners and the people around us. And it's always in the back of your mind, like, okay, I'm going to work today. I don't really know what's going to happen today. I really don't know, but I'm going to try to make the best of it and do the best that I can to make sure I do what I need to do.
I think what you just said, for people who are watching this, if they don't take anything else away out of this video, I'm going to work today, but I don't know what's going to happen. Most people don't say that when they go to work.
No, they don't. And it's just something we just know at this point. We know that we don't know what we're walking into every single day, but we're still going to come out here and we're going to do it.
You love this job.
I do. more than I thought I ever would.
Kevin Morgan, Director of Training, 24 years now.
So as the Director of Training, you're in charge of making sure that our law enforcement officers that work here have the training that they need.
Yeah, so that's our main goal and priority, is ensuring that they have all the tools they need to be successful in this line of work.
So a pretty big responsibility.
It's an extremely large responsibility.
So when you took on that task, did you ever think for 1 second that somebody that was a part of your training would get killed doing this job?
No, it's always in the back of your mind, but you hope you have prepared everybody enough to complete their mission and to give them everything they need so they can go home at night. But no, I don't think I ever thought in the 10 years I've been at training that we would lose somebody.
When Brandon was killed, how did you see the sheriff's office kind of shift?
That's a difficult question. You saw a huge shift in. So I'm going to ask you how to answer that question. A shift as far as mentality or as training or what?
A lot of times when a first responder is killed, it kind of resets the mindset of people that do the job. Like, oh, the reality of this, hey, everybody knows that is a risk. But oftentimes it gets kind of just
Lost in the mud.
Lost in the mud until it happens, and then
Okay, I'm tracking.
coworkers realize, spouses realize.
So yes, we saw a huge shift. We saw several people realize this job was not meant for them, and then we saw several stand up and take their training to another level and take their abilities, trying to build on their skills, knowledge, and abilities to make them more prepared. So we saw that from a training aspect, and we've seen that from the whole sheriff's department as a whole.
Did you ever think, in all your years of being here, but in 10 years of training, that you would go to Washington, D.C. and see a name that you've seen 1,000 times get inscribed on a wall?
No. I never thought that would be in the cards for me. To be honest with you, I never thought about it at all. I try to keep, an emotional side separate from my daily duties. And I never thought that we would have, or I would have, an opportunity to do that.
So when you were in D.C., kind of talk to me and explain to me what that was like.
That was, I've talked to several people about it. I've had a friend reach out prior to us going, and he tried to walk me through some of the stuff that we might see and encounter, but you can't put it in the words until you actually go there and you see the stuff. It's an emotional roller coaster. There is so many emotions that you have there that you just. I've been in this business for 24 years, and I try not to think about emotions, and again, keeping things separate. But it was an emotional roller coaster for somebody like me. That when you have a family, and Brandon's family was there, the officers who were with Brandon were there. Knowing Brandon, it was very difficult. We had to stay task driven to what the goal was to bring honor and tribute to Brandon. But you can get caught up in a flood of emotions if you're not prepared for it.
And when you say a flood of emotion, so people that are going to watch this, we obviously want them to, in essence, feel like they were there. So that week there was a lot of activities and celebration of life and everything like that. And there's obviously some fun that goes on with it because they don't want the families to just feel that somber part. But the point of the trip or the mission is for that, because we all know usually after about a year after somebody's killed in the line of duty, things kind of go back to normal.
Yeah, The hardest thing was so at the gala they spoke a lot and had a survivor speak, or not a survivor, but had an officer's wife who was killed in the line of duty speak, and it resonated a lot with the family. There was a lot of similarities, so that was emotional watching them go through those emotions. But there were so many parts of the week that were great that we had a really good time paying homage and tribute to Brandon. The memorial service was excellent. It was thousands of cops from all over the USA. We saw cops from Germany, France, Italian police were there. So from all over the world, they came to show respect, and that was pretty awesome to see. It was just the wall for me was probably the most emotional part, seeing your friend's name inscribed on the wall and seeing all the officers who were killed in line of duty inscribed on the wall, and trinkets that their families have put up there. It's gut wrenching. It brings everything back to reality that this is our line of work.
So, within the same month, you went and did that, but you also saw 6 people walk across the stage to take the oath to do it.
Yeah, it makes me proud as a police officer, as a trainer, as a father, to see these young men and women who are eager to do this job and eager to fill in the gap. It's extremely heartwarming to see that people still want to stand in the void and that they're willing to do this knowing the consequences. And that's where I think it's incumbent upon us as trainers to get them prepared, to not only on the physical aspect, but on the emotional and intellectual aspect of it all as well.
So what would you tell those 6 people who I would assume were probably in middle school when you first went to training? What would you tell them if you could just tell them a couple of words about, they hear in the training academy about what they're going to see, what they're going to do, but most of us in this room, myself included, know that there's what you train to do, and then there's reality. I mean, on the average day, they're going to see more than.
I would tell them you can't fake bravery. People see people running into the line of fire and they think it's courageous, but at the time, those people don't know they're being brave or courageous. They're just doing what they're trained to do. And you can't fake bravery. Like, bravery is bravery. If you're thinking that I'm not brave right now or courageous, I'm just going to be brave in this moment, that in itself is bravery. And so be brave, be courageous, rely on your training.
We did one of these videos a couple weeks ago with Bryce, and one of the things that he said right out of the gate in the beginning of the interview was thanking you all. How does that make you feel? The training staff.
That's I've spoken to Bryce several times about that, and it lets us know that we're doing the right thing. We're on the right path. Our goal and dream is to get everybody set up for success, to give them the tools they need to complete the mission, whatever that mission may be. And when somebody lets you know that what you did helped save their life or put them in a better position, I don't think there's any better feeling than that. Like, I know for me as an instructor, once he told me that, like, it let me know that this is my purpose. And I've never questioned my purpose, but that just reinforces it. This is not only my passion is what I love to do, but it makes it my purpose because this is what I love to share with people.
Yeah, so I'm Kevin Dutton. I'm the Assistant Director of Training, Lieutenant out at the Training Division. Been in law enforcement for 17 years, and I've been here at Paulding County for right at 16.
How do you handle or carry the weight of making sure, because I hear it out of your mouth all the time, making sure that the people that are trained under you or the training that you oversee, they're getting the best?
Yeah, I take that very seriously. So, and I do that by constantly testing myself. My director and the director prior to him, they hold us to a high expectation. So we're constantly striving to get the best training that we can get. And then our goal is simply to take that information and pass that on to our people to make sure they're getting the new, relevant, and the best training that's out there. So we don't want to get complacent. So we're always striving to better ourselves. And as long as we keep that mindset and that attitude and we seek that new knowledge for ourselves and pass that down to our people, we're going to be successful.
When you're training these people and making sure that they have everything that they need to be successful, are you looking at one of them or all of them and thinking, one of these people that I'm training, this job could end their life?
It's always there. And it's kind of twofold. You know it's there, and you train them to prepare them so that that doesn't happen as best as you can. But do you really fully expect it? No, you don't until it happens. It's something that is, kind of in the corner, and you're training them as best as you can to prevent that from ever happening. But you do understand, unfortunately, as part of this job, that it can. But there's no feeling until it happens that you really can't truly prepare for it. It's just a different animal once it actually does happen.
Did you ever think in 17 years that it would happen here?
Again, you always know that it could, but no, I didn't, because this agency is well over 150 plus years old, and it's never happened. And unfortunately, during my tenure here, it did happen. So wasn't really prepared and wasn't really planning that it would happen, no.
Going back to the day that Brandon was killed, what was that day like for you as a 17-year veteran that has helped train countless people that work here?
It was very hard because I had recently just retired from the SWAT team. So I was at home, and then my phone started ringing. And ironically, the first person that called me is our current sheriff, Ashley Henson. We had both just retired from the team. And then he told me, hey, we have one that's down. So I immediately said, I'm on my way. And he said, I know you are, let's go. So, we didn't care if we were on the team or not, we're going. So it was, you didn't want to believe it at first. I didn't ask if he was stable or if he was passed. I just knew he'd been hurt, and I'm coming.
Just get there.
Just get there at all costs.
So when you were driving there that day, what was running and playing through your head?
I've responded to a lot of critical incidents, obviously been on SWAT for the majority of my career, but that was obviously different because I haven't heard that kind of radio traffic of he's down, he's not moving, we can't get to him. Shots are still being shot at the deputies that were on scene. So it was a completely different situation, and my mindset was completely different. It is, and obviously I'm trying to get there as fast as I can, just to get there and do whatever I can do to help get to Brandon.
How did that change your view or your perspective on, as somebody that trains these folks, hey, I got to put my heart and soul into making sure some situations just aren't preventable. We all know that's a risk you take. And some of them are. I mean,
right.
The guy that got shot a month ago quoted you and what you did saving his life.
Yeah, what it does is it revalidates that what we do matters, and it's extremely important. And let me just go back and say this, with the two shootings that we've had in the past few months, there was nothing Brandon did wrong. I don't care who it was. It could have been a Navy SEAL that stepped out of that car. The result would have been the same. So he did nothing wrong. With Bryce, he did everything right because he had a little bit of an opportunity to react. And he reacted perfectly in accordance with any and everything that we've ever trained and the academy trained him to do. And it worked, and it saved his life that day. And then his fellow deputies that was there with him, they responded according to their training. And so what that does is it just shows that what we do out at training is important, It's working. We're able to communicate effectively the skill sets that we feel like these deputies need to do their job. And so we're going to continue to do that and push to be even better. So it really just kind of lit a fire under us to keep pursuing advanced training and doing even more advanced training as much as we can.
So talk to me about your experience in D.C.
Yeah, I'd never been to D.C. That was my first time ever being to our nation's capital. Something I'd always wanted to do, but obviously wanted to do it under a different set of circumstances. I didn't really know what to expect from myself or how others were going to react while we were there. And the best way I can describe it is go through a whole set of every emotion. You go from, being proud of the fact that you were able to go up here and honor a fellow deputy that you worked with or trained with. But then you also, I tell you, my first reaction to seeing the wall, everybody said you were going to get sad. Go ahead and prepare for that. I actually got mad. And here's why. I looked at this big wall with thousands of names on it. And that wall is almost completely filled up. They're going to have to make a bigger wall. That kind of made me angry. But then when you find Brandon's name and you're there, with friends and family of Brandon and seeing that, obviously that emotion changes. And now you feel that grief and that emotion of seeing somebody that, wears the same uniform as you from the same agency and his name is there. But then by the end of it, I was kind of happy and honored because Brandon's name is etched forever in eternity in that wall. So people are going to walk by, they're going to see Brandon, and they're going to know that he gave his life to be a hero for our community.
So every day when you get up and you put your uniform on, what is that, whether you're training people or that's your role, but you're still a cop.
Oh, 100%.
What's playing in your mind? Like, hey, what am I? You could be at training and then something crazy happened and then you're rolling. So every day when you get up and put your uniform on, what are you thinking?
I'm going to do whatever it takes to help the men and women that I serve with. And we are truly a tight-knit family at this agency, especially now. It's getting even better. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that they go home. That's why we do what we do. We want to protect this community. We love where we live. We're there to be the barrier between, the criminals and the civilians. And it's our role and our job to step up and do whatever it takes. So it just, that's my mindset is I'm going to go to work every day and do my best and make sure that everybody I work with is safe and goes home to their family. That's my main goal every day.
So 17 years, close to 18, I'm assuming.
Yep.
You love this job.
Love it. Love it just as much today as I did when I started. And it was, I'll say this, I'd retired from the SWAT team. And then when Brandon's incident happened, the sheriff, the former current sheriff now that we have, Ashley Henson, had already won the election. We knew he was going to become the new sheriff of Paulding County. We were in talks of me coming back to the SWAT team to come into a command position, and I told him that night, there's no more talk about it. I'm coming back. So it reinvigorated me to get back out there and make as big a difference as I could.
So you would say that the sheriff wanted the best of the best. So when something like that happened again,
that would be his words, but he knew he knows what I'm about. I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, but he knows what I can do. He knows what I'm about, and he asked me to go, and I said that night, yeah, absolutely, I'm coming back.
So Dutton, when the worst of the worst is happening, after we've been talking for a few minutes, that's where you want to be.
That's exactly where I want to be, right in the middle of it.